Kim Il-sung sent out preliminary singles in late 1955 and early 1956, before the Third Congress of the Workers' Party of Korea, or the WPK, that he was preparing to move against the Yuan and the Soviet factions. The 20th Congress of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union was a bombshell with Nikita Khrushchev's secret speech, denouncing Joseph Stalin, Joseph Yugashevili, and the inauguration of de-Stalinization. Throughout the Soviet bloc, domestic communist parties inaugurated campaigns against personality cults, and the general secretaries who modeled themselves after Stalin were deposed throughout Eastern Europe. Kim Il-sung was summoned to Moscow for 6 weeks in the summer of 1956 in order to receive a dressing down from Khrushchev, who wished to bring North Korea and a lot of other communist states in line with the new orthodoxy of the USSR. During Kim Il-sung's absence, Park Chung-ok, or OK, the new leader of the Soviet faction after the suicide of Ho Ki-ai, Cho Kang-ik, and other leading members of the Yuan faction, devised a plan to attack Kim Il-sung at the new plenum of the Central Committee and criticize him for, not correcting his leadership methods, developing a personality cult, distorting the Leninist principles of collective leadership, of course, his distortion of socialist legality and social legality as a whole, i.e. using arbitrary arrests and even some executions. A lot of those will follow with these people too. And other Khrushchev-era criticisms of Stalin against Kim Il-sung's leadership, political struggle, and political suicide. Kim Il-sung became aware of the plan upon his return from Moscow and responded by delaying the plenum by almost a month. When the plenum finally opened on the 30th of August, Cho Kang-ik made a speech attacking Kim Il-sung for concentrating the power of the party and of the state into his own hands, as well as criticizing the party line for the industrialization, which ignored widespread starvation among the Korean people. Yuan Kong-hom attacked Kim Il-sung for creating a police regime, and trust me, that will come into full force. Kim Il-sung's supporters heckled and even berated the speakers, rendering them almost inaudible and even destroying their ability to persuade the members and even some of their points. Kim Il-sung's supporters accused the opposition of being anti-party, a move to expel Yuan or Yun from the party. Kim Il-sung, in response, neutralized the attacks on him by promising the inauguration of changes and to moderate the regime, promises that were obviously and which were never kept. The majority of the committee voted in support of Kim Il-sung and almost also voted in favor of repressing the opposition, expelling Cho and Pak from the Central Committee. A few leaders of the Yuan faction fled to China, as Yuan was affiliated with China and Soviet with Soviet, to escape the purges that followed the August plenum or the August incident, while the supporters of the Soviet faction and the Yuan factions were obviously rounded up. Though Kim Tung-bong, the leader of the Yuan faction and nominal chairman of the Standing Committee of the Supreme People's Assembly, was not directly involved in the attempt on Kim, he was ultimately purged in 1958, accused of being the mastermind of the plot. Kim Tong-bo disappeared after his removal from power, and was likely either executed or died in prison, or both, died in prison from being executed. In September 1956, a joint Soviet-Chinese delegation went to Pyongyang to instruct Kim Il-sung to cease any purges and actually reinstate the leaders of the Yuan and the Soviet factions. A second plenum of the Central Committee, held on the 23rd of September 1956, officially pardoned the leaders of the August opposition attempt and rehabilitated them, but could not rehabilitate them because they were all dead. But in 1957, the purges resumed, and by 1958, the Yuan faction had ceased to exist or fled to China, and members of the Soviet faction ceased to exist. Members of the Soviet faction, meanwhile, facing increased harassment, decided to return to the Soviet Union in increasing numbers, and they ceased to exist. By 1959, the purges had been so ravenous and so ravaging that more than a quarter of the seats of the Supreme People's Assembly were vacant. A special by-election had to be organized in July of that year to even get back seats in the House. Vote for him because we're kind of empty, so just vote for Park Chung guy from down the street, okay? By 1961, the only faction left was Kim Il-sung's own guerrilla faction, along with members who had joined the WPK under Kim Il-sung's leadership and were obviously loyal to him. In the 1961 Central Committee, there were only 2 members of the Soviet faction, 3 members of the Yuan faction, and 3 members of the domestic faction, which were left out of the Central Committee membership by 1968. These individuals were personally loyal to Kim and trusted him. However, by the late 1960s, even these individuals were almost purged and none was safe from Kim Il-sung's perceived paranoia, especially as the tides began to change and Korea became the despotic thing that we know today. They were actually the better Korea at that time. North Korea was unironically the best Korea, while South Korea was the regime police state hellhole. But I guess, times change, right? One likely reason for the failure of the Soviet and the Yuan faction to depose Kim Il-sung was the nationalist view by younger members of the party who had joined since 1950, especially during the Korean War, which would heighten a lot of nationalism. And that members of these factions, and they really saw the members of these factions as foreigners because, like I said, the Yuan is mostly a Chinese affiliated thing and the Soviet obviously Soviet. And there were foreigners influenced by alien powers, while Kim Il-sung was seen as the true Korean. And that is actually ironic because Kim Il-sung was actually born, or I don't want to say born, but spent like 80% of his time in Siberia, like pretty much in Russia at that point. Let me see, where was he born? Yeah, he was pretty much, yeah. Like, I have one more paragraph. We could do a little, Googling, okay? We could do a little Googling. Where's his birth? Alright, he ILSung do Chosin, which is now Pyongyang in North Korea. Oh, why did it change it? He was born there, but he did spend most of his life in Russia. I can remember that. I can remember that. Anyway, last paragraph. According to Kim Il-sung's biographer, Dae Sok-soo, Kim's long struggle to consolidate power was complete. There were no longer any factions to challenge his position, and for the first time, no foreign armed forces were occupying the north. And that is pretty much it. I honestly thought Kim Il-sung was born in Russia, but I know the Mount Pektu thing was obviously a lie, literal propaganda. But I didn't know. I honestly thought he was born in Russia. I know he spent most of his time in the USSR, but did not really see that one coming. But that was kind of interesting. Hiran do Chosin. Alright. And he died in Hasang County, North Pyongyang Province, North Korea in 1994. He was born on the 15th of April, 1912. He died at 82. Wow. Imagine if he would have lived to like 100. Wow. That would have been wild. Wow. That means like freaking Kim. Wow, if he was to live to 100 years old, would Kim Jong-il even like, would Kim Jong-il even be like the president? Because he died in like 2011, so. Well. Anyway. That is actually, anyway, it's the second one, Arduous March. Wow. Anyway, I think that's pretty much me, rambling of Kim Il-sung's past aside. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you like it. I hope it was entertaining at least. I know I got to be a bit better at this, but I think this is it. Oh wait, Hoka Ike. That's just okay. Anyway, that was pretty interesting. That was pretty nice. Filler aside, I think I could cut out most of this, but so anyway, with that being said, I think that is it. I think that was a nice recording actually. I might actually do 2 more because now I love to talk. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned something. And until next time, learn something. And if you're a member of a political faction Just remember, if that political factions take over, you're not the safe guy. You're not safe. You're never safe. Till next time, the Supreme People will smash the Supreme. No, don't smash the like button. Don't subscribe. Just listen to my voice in the background while you work on something. And until next time, sanitize, stay safe, and of course, learn something. If you don't learn something from this, learn something from life. Bye bye.